Howdy folks, welcome to another beautiful summer's day. Finally, well, maybe it's only the first one, but it looks like summer is finally here out here in West Vancouver. Amazing, isn't it? Anyway, I thought I'd do a little bit of an update video and tell you where we stand in our immigration journey and what's been going on just in general. I don't think I've done a video in a while on that. So, firstly, great news. We have finally submitted our citizenship applications in this week online. I think Melinda finished it just on Monday. So we are now in the queue, ready. The next phase is to become citizens and get our Canadian passports. Yay! How awesome is that going to be? Anyway, I mean, it's been a long and arduous journey. Don't get me wrong. If we really have to go back to the time when we actually decided that it's time to leave South Africa or to get a second passport, I mean, that was roughly at about 2013 when we traveled through the US in December. And we came back and we went to Australia and we tried to get into Australia and we worked through all of that, and then we had to sell the business, and then we started becoming nomadic and we started traveling. And I got to be honest, there was a few years there where I didn't work too hard on settling because it was actually really cool just floating around. But as far as the Canada thing goes, I mean, we started this journey roughly in June 2020, and we are now in June 2025, and it's been 5 years. And for those out of there that are thinking of doing the similar thing, you know, moving from South Africa to Canada, getting citizenship and stuff like that, just remember one thing: it's not easy. It seems like a simple thing, but it is 5 years of hard effort and struggle and headache and heartache and a whole bunch of other things. But at the same time, like we had this guy living with us and working with us many years ago back there in South Africa, old Bongani Baloy, when we were selling affordable housing, and he always used to have this saying, "Skakma's oraait." So, you know, that's just the way I view this immigration journey. Skakma's oraait. You know, it has its struggles and it's tough and it's hard and it's got all these little curveballs getting thrown at you all the time. But in the end, it's still all right because it is still worth it. And that's what it's all about, no? So, yeah, we are there now. We are waiting. It's once again, you know, as it is with the IRCC, you know, that we've now submitted and now we wait. Apparently it could take anywhere from 4 months to 8 months to sometimes a little longer. Luckily, I do feel like a lot of people have been saying, especially with the online applications lately, that it's not that long. Within 4 months or so, on average, you get your approvals, and then we're going to have to go and write the test, and then we're going to go and do the whole thing, and then we're going to get our passports. Really can't wait for that. I mean, let's face it, the Canadian passport is a very handy travel companion when you want to travel throughout the world. Not that we're going to give up our old South African passports. I mean, we are going to keep dual citizenship. If the kids want to go back to South Africa one day, if we want to go back to South Africa one day, who knows? I don't think it hurts to have two. Two is better than one, so we're definitely going to go that route. But anyway, back to the other point. For those of you that are considering doing this thing, immigration, you know, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. The way that we did and the way that most people do is very, very hard. And that's to come in here on a work permit and then get yourself converted into a PR and then get yourself converted into citizenship. That is a 5-year journey at the very least. And things are getting a lot harder these days. It's like, I mean, they are going out of their way to make it a bit more difficult. The like kind of open borders that there was for a few years under the Trudeau government, you know, it's been rethought, put it that way. Because why? Because there was a bunch of people that took advantage of it. So, I mean, the idea was great, bring more immigrants to come and fill positions and do stuff, but then there was a bunch of corrupt folks that were selling immigration packages under the table and lying and creating fake LMIAs and all of that, and they just basically screwed it up for everybody else. You know, you always get those guys, right, that will come and do the underhanded thing and then basically break the system for everybody else. So, crazy thing, it is tougher, but it is still out there. If you come in directly on a PR, like some people, where you have a job or you have an in-demand position and stuff like that, that is great. I mean, that's not that hard, but at least it's better. There's a lot of people lately that I'm seeing around that are struggling. They came in on work permits and they had this whole idea of where they're going to go, and there is a little bit of a, what do you call it? I guess, you know, an economic downturn on the cards in Canada, without a doubt. I mean, house prices have dropped by 25, 26% across the board. You know, everything isn't stable. It's like, hey, it goes like this. I know in South Africa it's also tough. It's everywhere it's tough. But we are in a bit of a downturn, and what's happening now, people come in on work permits and then they get retrenched or they lose their jobs, and because they were under an LMIA, unless they can find another job with an LMIA, they have to go back home. And I've actually been hearing about a few people that that's happened with. So if you are thinking of making the jump and doing it, you know, just be careful. Look, if you come here, a lot of people, if they lose their jobs, they try really hard, they find somebody else. It's not that easy always, because not everybody wants to go through this whole LMIA process, especially now, because they had to make it a lot harder because of the people that cheated and all of that, unfortunately. But, you know, at the end of the day, I can't, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it is 100% worth it. Did we take a knock on our egos? Oh yes. I mean, from in South Africa, where you had people cleaning the house and you were a Mr. Meneer around, you know, like things were just awesome. Here suddenly you take a knock down, you move a few rungs down on the ladder. It's a bit of an ego check, you know. You got to do your own dishes, you got to like wash your own floors, you got to vacuum your own house, you got to do your own stuff. And your millions of rands that you have or had back in South Africa, you know, over here is pretty much nothing. You can hardly buy a damn parking spot in Vancouver with it. Although, like I said, the prices are coming down. But all things considered, you know what I think makes it worth for us? Number one, our kids. I mean, Connor just literally got a job. He works as an apprentice electrician. So yeah, it took him a little while. He was, when he finished school, the local government, West Vancouver Council, arranged for a summer job for a bunch of kids. And it was actually, they gave them some training, first aid training, taught them a bunch of things. And those were kids that volunteered at the council before, so they gave him some training, and then they placed them out with businesses, local businesses, where they ended up working, but they got paid by the West Vancouver Council for that. And it was like, I think it was a 6-week program or an 8-week program over summer. So Connor did that, and after that, he got hired by the place that he was placed out to, so he got like a semi-permanent job over there. That lasted, it was Sewell's Marina in Horseshoe Bay, and that lasted until in November, mid-November. They shut down for the winter, but then they also sold the place, so they kind of shut it down completely, which meant that he didn't have a job to go back to. Now, he wanted to then take his summer holiday or his vacation break, and he just kind of laid around not doing anything until earlier this year. I think it was March or so. We said, boy, enough vacation now, you got to get out and find a job. And he went to Work BC, which is an amazing organization, by the way. It's always funny when you think about it. You know, on the one hand, you don't like socialism when you're just giving stuff away for people, but at the same time, socialism is semi-cool when you are getting stuff. All right, that's life, you know. Some things are better this way. I don't know. Anyway. So, and don't get me wrong, it's not socialism. It's just, I think, great structure, because what happened was he went to Work BC. They tried to help him find a job. They figured out what he wanted to do. He said he wanted to go into construction, so they sent him on courses. They sent him on a forklift driving course, which they paid for. They sent him on a traffic organization course, which they paid for. There's a bunch of stuff. They taught him how to use LinkedIn to find jobs, and it was like they actually gave real support. So if you are in Canada and you're struggling, Work BC, if you're in BC, it's great, but I'm sure there's organizations like that all over the country. I don't know all their names, but, you know, definitely that part of it is amazing. And in any case, long story short, so about a month ago. Was it a month ago? Connor got his first job offer. I mean, he's just got matric. He's got, or grade 12, as they call it nowadays. He doesn't have any other skills per se as a contractor or an electrician. So he got a job as an apprentice electrician at an electrical company without skills, without anything. He starts from the ground and he just learns his skills. And I mean, he gets like paid, I think it works out to about $3,600, $3,700 a month. I mean, that's a solid salary. All right, look, you can't go and start your own life with it, not at the way that rents and house prices are. But technically, you can go rent yourself a home in a commune, buy yourself a car, and do a whole bunch of other stuff. Not that he's going to go do that, because it's so much easier to live with mom and dad. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, we like having him here. He's a cool kid. So, and we got the space, so why not? He can save his money. Anyway, long story short, he got this job at like $3,700 a month salary. Plus, every 500 hours, or roughly 6 months that he works, he gets a pay bump. Not a lot, but maybe $1 or so. So, you know, that's an extra, I don't know what it works out to, but it's you know, he's currently on about $21, then he goes to about $22 and $23, and it just like, it increases all the time, every 500 hours. And then of course the other benefit of doing this as an apprentice is that when he goes after 1,000 hours, they actually send him on a 10-week course to go and study something on their dime, which is, I mean, that's amazing, no? That's amazing. I don't think that Connor would have had the same opportunity back in South Africa to do this. I just don't think, I don't think that there's enough jobs available. I don't think that there's enough opportunities available. So, you know, that's brilliant. And then, of course, the thing is, after 4 years, he's a journeyman or a qualified electrician, and those guys these days, you know, they get paid. They do very well. Amazing. And he's also, so even though he only works for one company, he's now a registered electrical apprentice with some government organization or BC organization, I don't know. So even if he moves, and all his hours gets logged, so even if he moves from one company to another company, he just carries on with his apprenticeship. He's now a registered apprentice, which is, I mean, it's phenomenal. It really, really is. And honestly, I don't know if I honestly don't know if we were back in South Africa, if he would have had that opportunity. I highly doubt it. Not going to lie to you. You know, we would have probably had to pay to send him to a university and hope that something changes and then he can find a job after. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's great. So opportunities, most definitely, even in this time when it's a little bit harder, there's still a lot of opportunities over here. And then, of course, the big one, I mean, still, it doesn't matter what you say. The big one is that it is safe. I mean, oh man, this is just, it's just different. And I don't think a lot of people that hasn't been over here or that hasn't left South Africa yet actually understands the difference. I mean, actually understands the difference from when you walk around and you don't look over your shoulder. You don't care. You're not scared. You're not worried. You're not even remotely paraat, to be quite honest. And it's just a different feeling, you know, where you hear a loud sound at night and you just turn around and you sleep further. You don't dive into the safe and pull the gun because of previous experiences, you know. I mean, it really makes a difference. And I think that's, for me, is probably still the number one thing. It's just the fact that I don't worry over here. And I know there's lots of people living in South Africa in different areas that has no worries. They also feel safe and they've also gone there. Problem is, we had some experiences over there that didn't work out and that wasn't like that. And you know, once something bad happens to you, it's very hard to just tick over and move on. Maybe some people can. You know, I don't think we can. We decided to go for the safer option. We were actually at the movies last night with friends of ours, and while they were riding over the bridge with their bike, he lost his bunch of keys on the bridge. And he had a little air tag on it, so he saw somebody picked it up. He sent a notification to the air tag with his phone number. The guy youngster phoned him and drove all the way from the other side of Vancouver to the cinema up here in West Van at Park Royale to come and drop off his keys. I mean, it's really cool. And I'm not saying things like that doesn't happen in South Africa. And I'm not saying that things are perfect over here in Canada. But I can tell you one thing, it's just safer. It just feels more secure, really, and opportunities. Anyway, long rant, way off on the wrong side of what I was originally planning to talk about. But anyway, that's where we are. The great news is we are in the queue, and hopefully in 4 months from now, touch wood, hold thumbs, guys, please do, we will be Canadian citizens. Wouldn't that be amazing? All right, folks, you all have a good one. Cheers.